Welcome back to the econsummit.org website. First thing we're going to do today is take a little bit of time and check out the teacher dashboard and the student dashboard. This will give you a great idea as to what resources are available for both you and your students. This is the teacher dashboard. This is where you land as soon as you select your summit. You can click on this link right here that says your team's assignment and profile, and you will see all of your summit teams, and you can chart their progress here with the assignments that are due. If you want to add additional teams, you can do that here. You can select countries for your teams if you have not already done that. But we're going to look at the teacher resources right now. Teacher resources, there's some general information for everybody, a little material order form in case you don't have your classroom materials ready. This is the teacher handbook right here, and every chapter has its own PDF. So as we go through the training, you can follow along and print off the parts of the teacher handbook that you'd like to have right at your fingertips. Then there are some documents and forms, PDFs that are very useful to study from and use as resources for the summit, and to also use in your classroom for the mini summits. The student handbook is also here. The students also have a handbook that corresponds to the teacher handbook. It has a little bit more student-oriented tips and tricks and things not to forget, and a lot of the same information that's in the teacher handbook. Study guides and practice tests. The geography quiz study guide here is all here, all of our whole slide deck. Also the economics test study guide, current events study guide, personal finance study guide. Then there are some national content standards and readings, resources, newscasts, great content there. I specifically want to show you, we're going to go back up here to the regional summit documents and forms, and here is where you will find the costume judging sheet and a costume elements example. Let's look at this example first. It's going to show you on an angle here many of the elements that are required for the costumes. If you print this out, you'll be able to read it better and see the whole thing. But then there's also one of those for the table displays, and it shows all of the elements that this particular table display has, and it also shows a couple of elements that they don't show. So that's helpful. And then we're going to look at the judging sheet. Here is what the judges use, and here's the rubric, all of the things that they are looking for and how they score it. So you and your students can look over that sheet carefully and make sure you've got all of the elements there. And table judging sheet has the same thing as well. So there are those two things. I want to quickly show you where the students can find this. So this is the student dashboard. It looks just like the teacher dashboard, has the dates and the map. Only their country shows up as green on the map, whereas all of your teams will show up green on the map. They have a little bit less information here. They can look at their team assignment. They will be able to see all of their team members there and see how they're coming along. And under student resources, they have their student handbook, and they've got some video clips here that they can watch, gives them some examples, and then the same study guides and summit tests as were in your resource list at the teacher level. For the students to be able to find those costume and table display references, they will need to go to World Culture Chapter 7 in their handbook. And it is a whole chapter on how to prepare their costumes and table displays. And they have lots of examples to look at. Here's that slide that we saw on its side. And it also tells them the elements that they need. Here's an example of a name tag. And same thing for the table displays. Here's the example that we saw with the rubric, and then a few more hints and tips about things to remember about your table. So it is a very valuable resource to them. I hope that you will point it out to them here, Chapter 7 in their student handbook. And I hope that gives you a good idea of the resources that are available to you on the Summit website.